my name is Vanessa Gallagher, and today I'm going to be talking about the importance of horses in ancient Greece, both in everyday life and mythology. The ancient Greeks believed horses were created by Poseidon, the god of the sea, and played a huge and crucial role in many myths and stories. The Greeks relied heavily on horses and used them in many aspects of life, including farming, transportation, hunting, sacrifices to the gods, pastimes, and warfare. Horses were extremely expensive to purchase and maintain, so they were seen as a luxury, especially in ancient Greece. While it was not common for horses to be used for farming in ancient Greece, they would help plow the fields and move products with the wagon. In Hesiod's poem, Works and Days, he writes about horses and other types of animals that need to have yokes put on them at certain times of the year to begin plowing the fields. Using horses for hunting and transportation was considered an extreme luxury saved only for the highest of class. They were occasionally used in sacrifices reserved for Poseidon, which included drowning the horses in the sea. The Iliad mentions horses being sacrificed in a different manner. This scene is at Patroclus' funeral, and these are the animals Achilles is sacrificing. Many strong sheep and shambling, crook-horned cattle, 4 strong-necked horses were hurriedly flung into the fire, 9 dogs whose throats were cut, and 12 young Trojan men. Book 23, lines 161 to 177. Chariot racing in ancient Greece was a pastime that can be dated back to as early as 1500 BCE. The event evolved into a couple different events, so making their way into the ancient Olympic Games. Teams of people caring for the horses would be rewarded for a horse's performance during the games instead of just one person or the rider. Horses were also used for warfare on the battlefield. They began using them somewhere between 1600 and 1100 BCE, which began with them pulling chariots for the cavalry. Due to the price of horses, the cavalry in the beginning was very minimal because so few could afford it. Homer mentions horses throughout the Iliad, an ancient Greek poem about the Trojan War. When it comes to horses and warfare, the Iliad is a perfect poem to talk about it. Homer writes about Xanthus and Baelus, immortal horses that played a huge role in the Trojan War, and are great examples of how horses were perceived in ancient Greece. These horses had many human-like characteristics, including extreme mourning over Patroclus when he dies, which Homer writes about in Book 17. One of the horses, Xanthus, also receives a gift from the god of Hera, and he can speak to Achilles for a short period of time, which Homer writes about in Book 19. Many ancient artifacts depict images of horses used in warfare. However, this amphora shows a quadragus, or a chariot pulled by 4 horses trampling soldiers on the battlefield during the Trojan War. This amphora is believed to be made between 500 and 490 BCE, and is currently on display at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. Horses are also depicted countless times in different assortment of pottery. They can almost always be found in paintings of Helios, usually depicted attached to his chariot pulling the sun across the sky. This piece of pottery, a red figure calyx crater, is on display at the British Museum of Art, and it was found in 1867. It was made approximately in 430 BC. This is an extremely well-preserved piece of pottery, with one side showing Helios and his chariot being pulled by 4 winged horses. Horses were a crucial and important part of ancient Greece, both in everyday life and mythology. There are countless stories about horses, as well as many stories about gods turning themselves and others into horses. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you learned about horses' impact in ancient Greek, both in everyday and classical mythology.